Hey guys, what is going on? Lee Sanders back with you all. Monday night edition of the RCWR show for this June 15th, 2026. Come one, come all. Stay a while, won't you? I would appreciate if you do. Hope you guys had a fantastic weekend. Definitely sound off. Let me know what you had thought about tonight's WWE RAW. No polls this week. Gonna take it easy with the poll. But yeah, man, I tell you what, the DC metropolitan area was kind of the place to be, right? I mean, we had the Trump birthday celebration that he was doing for himself, and you had race car driving, right, street racing, and UFC Freedom 250, and there's all kinds of stuff. Now, if that wasn't your cup of tea, then of course you just took a short drive on over to the chocolate city known as Baltimore. Baltimore has some okay parts, but as I have been saying for many, many years now to all my friends and family, the best part about Baltimore, leaving Baltimore. Because I tell you, like 1 minute it's all nice, and then next thing you know, bam, you got a bunch of homeless people jumping on your car trying to wash it in hopes that you're going to hook them up with a little bit of money and all that crap. It's crazy, man. And then let's not also forget, shout out to my people that are into soccer. I know we got the World Cup going on and everything. A lot of people, one of my friends of the family who serves as a longtime mechanic, he's one of our go-to mechanics. He always hooks us up with like really, really great low deals, and he gives it to us right between the eyes. One of the honest, coolest people that's out there. We gave him some business earlier today, and we pretty much had came at the tail end of business hours, and he was glad when we told him, hey, we're not expecting this back today. Like, honestly, take your time. Like, push come to shove, you ain't gonna have it ready till like Thursday or Friday. That's cool. And he was like, "Phew," because apparently because of the World Cup from the weekend, all of his employees called out. So he was the only one working on cars today. And then, like, rewinded before that, we had Knicks. The Knicks in the NBA Finals. They got it done. And who told you right here on the show, as soon as the matchup went down and everything, I said, yo, Knicks in five. I told you all. Tell me if I'm lying. I told you guys. I said, I'm not quite seeing a sweep, but I'm going with Knicks in five. And it played out. I mean, a lot of good stuff going on as far as sports and entertainment goes. So, again, hopefully your weekend was definitely as good as mine as far as the entertainment aspect, being able to. Check out all of those cool things that was going on and all that. We got some interesting developments from tonight's WWE Raw that was right here in somewhat my backyard. I am out here in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, the DMV as we call it, and all that. Baltimore is not that far from me. But some interesting developments from tonight's WWE Raw with the King and Queen of the Ring tournaments. Also, we saw the return of Logan Paul. Quite a surprise. Was not expecting that at all. Latest development in the days of the bloodline. Kind of borrowing a little bit from that popular soap back in the day, Days of Our Lives, Days of the Bloodline, right? Or As the Bloodline Turns, right? There you go. As the Bloodline Turns, the latest drama in that. So we got that. We also got the latest in headlines, including I'll be sounding off for the first time my thoughts about Janel Grant, TKO, WWE, Vince McMahon pretty much telling the judge in a joint statement, yo, we no longer want to continue to let this all play out publicly. We want to take this behind closed doors and resolve this. So again, you picked a great night slash week to tune into the RCWR show here. Let's jump into this bad boy, man. So yeah, we just saw, and Raw went into a little bit of overtime tonight. that was kind of surprising. I actually had to make sure that my remote control was in real time because I thought like, damn, did I rewind a little bit or something? But no, that's just how late WWE Raw ran tonight. Look, I don't personally mind it. I really, really don't. Quick programming note: Raw next Monday for my United States audience. Peep this out. Raw will be airing at a special start time on the East Coast at 2 p.m. West Coast, that means 11 a.m. Why? Because they're going to be in London performing at the O2 Arena, the historic O2 Arena at that. And much like what we had did for a couple of consecutive weeks, I'll come on live as soon as that post show is over. So if you're able to tune in live, appreciate you. I know some of you guys are dealing with work, classes, you have it, you name it. But if you're able to tune in, great. Otherwise, just know that whenever you get situated for the night, the shows will be available for you guys to access for on demand on the downloads, including the web show available on YouTube, Facebook, and other streaming platforms and all that. So Roman Reigns showing up, pretty much getting his business done at the very top of the hour, kicking off tonight's Monday Night Raw. And look, the Baltimore crowd, I gotta tell you, what did I say to you guys previously last Monday? I said, yo, the bloodline and all that, Roman Reigns, that's gonna go over with the Baltimore crowd. In fact, it did. I said, yo, Oba Femi's gonna get a nice pop from the crowd. I hate these days for many, many years now, but it's just become more and more blatantly obvious that WWE likes fucking around with the PA system and all that. I noticed that they were doing it for Oba Femi's entrance in the main event tonight, but regardless, put that to the side. He still had a relatively very good, strong reaction from the Baltimore crowd. Okay, I definitely did notice that. Dirty Dominik Mysterio had a pretty solid reaction from the Baltimore crowd as well. All of these things I kind of highlighted last week and said, look, it may kind of feel a little not really bizarro world in Baltimore, but Baltimore with the rich history that it has of its wrestling knowledge and wrestling ties, right, to the McMahon family. The McMahon family, they got the WWE started in our backyard, going as far back to the days of Capital Championship Wrestling, and then eventually the Worldwide Wrestling Federation. Shane McMahon was born in I think Gaithersburg, Maryland. So a lot of history with WWE, particularly in the DMV region and all that. So the crowd reacted to the people that I thought that they were going to react to, even showing a little bit of love there to young OG there and Javon Evans. So went down exactly how I thought it was going to go down. But Roman and the bloodline pretty much kicking things off. Roman addressing the noise that he's been hearing for the past couple of weeks, acknowledging that he's been hearing the whispers, the fear that the bloodline is going to run business yet again here. And, he pretty much said, straight up, look, as far as the bloodline goes, we've always been here. Like, don't get it misconstrued. Bloodline's always been here and it's going to be here forever. And then he just starts counting the ways, talking about how the Wild Samoans, that was bloodline. Yokozuna, when he was doing his thing, that was the bloodline. Rikishi dancing his big ass off and all that, that was the bloodline. Umaga, the Usos, even like all that is the bloodline. And then from there, he turns his attention to Jacob Fatu and says, look, I know that for a long time now, you've considered yourself to be an outsider, but no longer. You are now an insider. You are now officially part of the family business. And from there, Roman bust out a custom made Ulafala for Jacob Fatu, to which the Usos looked on just really pissed off, really irritated. Yeah, they're looking at each other like, what the hell? How is this guy? Why is he get what the hell is this all about and everything? And as far as the whole Jay Uso, yo, when we tell you, Jacob Fatu, you gotta do something when we tell you to do it. And Jacob's like, no, 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 no. Only person I need to acknowledge is my tribal chief, Roman Reigns. And you ain't no tribal chief, Big Jim. You ain't no tribal chief. So I ain't got to do a damn thing that y'all tell me to do. Like, bump that. That was addressed. Roman basically was like, hey, do we have a problem and everything? And then Jacob pretty much reiterated, I don't answer to them. I answer to you. I respect you. You are my tribal chief. And Roman gave him props. He said, look, right before he gave him the Ulafala and all of that, told him he's officially part of the family business. He told him, I don't like yes men. So that actually scored Jacob major brownie points and everything, put him one step closer in good favor with Roman Reigns. But the Usos not really feeling that. Later on in the night, we saw the Usos cross paths. I think they were walking with Jacob, or maybe they were talking amongst themselves and they bumped into Jacob. And Jacob pretty much reminded them, yo, LA Knight is still coming out week in, week out, talking mad shit. What are you guys going to do about it? You guys are like straight up ass right now. Like, seriously, you know, like we need to do things, the right way and all that. So kind of have that going in the back of your mind, because with Jacob Fatu, this man is definitely making his presence felt with such a huge impact in the bloodline. I mean, it is essentially, who Jacob Fatu is really reminding me of. And it's so interesting that I'm getting ready to go this route, but I think a lot of you guys can definitely see it as well when I connect the dots for you a little bit. He's reminding me a lot like it's a crossbreed. It's an interesting crossbreed. He's reminding me a lot of Al Pacino's Tony Montana character in Scarface. And remember just how Tony Montana was early on at the beginning. Every single time, he was working for Frank. I mean, this dude was going above and beyond. He was a fucking pit bull, right? And remember Frank's right hand man, who turns out allegedly he was a undercover cop or whatever, and Salsa had took care of him. But remember what when Frank was picking on dude's brain at the club while Tony was dancing with Michelle Pfeiffer's character. Frank was like, "What do you think?" And dude was like, I think he's a fucking peasant. And he's like, that may be so, but a guy like that will bend over backwards for you. He will break his back. He will be loyal to you. And so there's just some interesting elements like that in this storyline that I'm seeing with Jacob Fatu's involvement, but you still can't help but go, is Jacob Fatu truly all in on this, or is he acting as some type of a double agent? Like, is it even not necessarily he's working with Solo, but like, is he working with someone else that will eventually enter the picture, right? And he's operating at their discretion. He's taking their instructions and all of that, right? Or is something else at play here, right? I posed this series of questions last week, right? So we still have to kind of keep that going in the back of our minds. But for now, for all intents and purposes, Jacob Fatu is just pretty much okay. It is what it is. I'm all in on this. And I mean, he is earning his street cred, his bloodline cred with the quickness and all that. They had comedian Eric Andre out there. He was in attendance with the crowd as the bloodline were making their way out. Eric was saying a few words too, Fatu letting him know how he liked his necklace, and he actually touched it and said, "I like your necklace," and that just made Fatu snap, uh, and just yoink that damn dude over over the barricade on his back, tossed his ass in the. I mean, he was going belligerent on this man. Adam Pearce and other WWE officials came on out there. Roman assessing the situation as Fatu climbed up to the top turnbuckle, was getting ready to just splat out with that snooker splash and everything. But he looked on at Roman, and it seemed like Roman was kind of holding him back, right? Kind of thinking about what Michael Cole had said. Jacob Fatu has been neutered and domesticated. And it's like, okay, so Jacob Fatu is now like on a leash, right? Theoretically, right? He's now on this invisible leash that Roman Reigns can pretty much, it's just funny. I don't mean to laugh. Y'all remember that classic episode of Martin where Martin came in that joint with the dog, with the stuffed dog? I was just picturing Roman Reigns in that position for some weird reason. I don't know why. That's really messed up. Anyway, but yeah, Roman finally gave the green light for Fatu to do his thing, and he splashed his ass big time and all that, nodding and smiling in approval and everything. So Usos looking on, they can't believe what they're seeing and everything. But Eric Andre, that was a nice little spot. Look, Eric did good. Eric did good. I mean, look, we really shouldn't be surprised that he was doing that kind of stuff because he is a crazy, guy. And I know not everybody is like, who the hell is Eric Andre? I mainly know Eric Andre from the crazy ass show that he was doing on Cartoon Network during the Adult Swim block some years back. That's how I pretty much knew of him, and I remember one of the first times I had watched his show. It was like about maybe 4 to 5 years ago. I was just up late one night, and I was just flipping through the channels, and then I was like, "Oh, wait! It's the weekend." I'm like, "Matter of fact, it's like fucking Saturday. Let me turn to Cartoon Network, Adult Swim. Let me see what they got." And like normally, there's some cartoons that's up my alley, and then there's others where I'm just kind of scratching my head, going, yeah, nah. And then I tuned in and I saw an episode of the Eric Andre show, and I just was like, the fuck did I just watch? And I wanted more of it because it kind of fit that wheelhouse of Tim and Eric a little bit, right? And check it out with Dr. Steve Brule and all that. So I've been a fan of his work ever since. Of course, he's got that Netflix connection as him and John Cena are in that new Netflix original movie. I mean, look, I got Netflix. I've been watching Netflix more and more. I think I'll go on ahead and check it out, and I'll let you guys know if that's something you all should check out or pass up on and everything. So Jacob Fatu letting the Usos know, yo, look at what's going on with LA Knight. This dude continues to run his mouth. Y'all ain't doing a damn thing about it. That's ass. Like, you need to take care of your business. Like, y'all's way only gonna work but for so long, right? Before I need to step in and pretty much do my thing. And that's ultimately what Fatu had to do. As there was later on in the night, pretty solid segment with LA Knight. LA Knight was, see here, hang on here. That's my Ring doorbell going off. I love getting the notifications on my phone, just making sure everything's on the up and up okay. Anyway, LA Knight continuing to spew out his conspiracy theories of all the stuff that he's been noticing. Of course, he lost in his King of the Ring qualifying match as Jey Uso advanced, but there was a little bit of help there, so to speak, from Solo Sokoa. So LA Knight is kind of stringing it all together and is feeling like, yo, there's this bloodline conspiracy. It runs so thick. And I mean, he is literally becoming, and I think WWE is really doing this by design. I really feel they're going with the LA Knight character almost in a Kevin Costner, JFK. Remember the JFK movie from back in the 90s? I mean, it feels like they're almost going in that direction because remember, the Kevin Costner character in JFK, I mean, he went down this rabbit hole like many, many years as far as like, who took out JFK, was it a conspiracy? And this connects to the other, and like we're seeing that go down here to an extent with the LA Knight character. So I love seeing him out there in the ring, continuing to spew his conspiracy theories. Yet again, getting in the face there of Adam Pierce right before he came out to the ring, cutting a promo and everything. Shortly got interrupted though, as Jimmy Uso came out, and Jimmy had said to Jay right after the Usos conversation with Jacob Fatu, Jimmy was like, "Look, let me handle this my way because I've got history with this dude. So maybe, just maybe, he'll kind of listen to reason here." So Jimmy, as always, trying to be the peacemaker, trying to step in yet again and let him know, yo, Solo Sokoa, like we had nothing to do with that whatsoever. Tonight's point, okay, so if I want to beat that guy's ass all over the arena, like, you telling me you guys aren't gonna, and Jimmy's like, yo, that's between you and Solo. We got nothing to do with that. You want to go after that dude? Like, you ain't gonna get nothing from us. And again, if you ever find yourself in a position where you're fighting for the world championship, yo, may the best man win. Like, seriously. But Knight is still of the conspiracy mindset. Jey Uso came out. He pretty much had enough of all the yakety yak. He pretty much was physically ready to throw it down. Jay says to LA Knight, yo, it's about time that you acknowledge me. Like, you need to do the right thing here. I beat your ass, and I beat your ass fair and square. LA Knight begged to differ. Tension's just getting really, really to that boiling point. It just went over like a boiling pot of water. You got some rice in it and you ain't paying attention, and it just it just exploded. Jay, LA Knight going at it. Jimmy trying to be the peacemaker. He gets pushed on his ass by LA Knight. Jimmy snaps, super kicks the hell out of him. So now it's looking like it's about to be a 2-on-1 beatdown. LA Knight manages to grab a steel chair, introduced by Jay, uh, whacked it on them for a little bit. Then we saw the werewolf himself, Jacob Fatu, coming in with that Tonga grip, pretty much negating LA Knight, laying his ass out, letting the Usos know this is how you get shit done. You try to your way, Us, and you try to your way, Us. There's only one way to do this. There's only one way to handle business like that, the OTC way. So later on in the night, Jacob Fatu crossing paths with Roman Reigns, asking if dude did what he needed to do. Fatu saying, yeah. Roman had one more request for Fatu. Sadly, we did not get to hear this, but you were under the impression because right after they did that transition or that segment, they transitioned to hyping up the main event match between Oba Femi and Dominik Mysterio. And I looked at that and I couldn't help but go, damn, I wonder if Roman Reigns is giving Jacob Fatu some marching orders here to maybe somehow fuck Oba Femi out of advancing in the King of the Ring tournament. Like, yo, that would be some serious controversy. But like, damn, like, are we really going in that direction, or is something else kind of going on here? Something else at play here. Sadly, we got ourselves a cliffhanger because I thought for sure Jacob Fatu was maybe going to do some meddling in that main event match, but no, no. And I got to tell you, all things considered, with how Raw went off the air from that uh decent decent match between Oba and Dominik Mysterio. I mean, look, majority of the match was basically Tom and Jerry. Tom chasing Jerry. I mean, that's basically what it was for all it was worth. You know, um, I mean, when you have the right people that's at play, it works beautifully. And in this particular case, Oba, Dom, you had the right people, right? So I just thought it might have been just a little bit too long winded, but at the same time, if you were going to be a bit long winded, you were doing it in front of the right crowd. And most importantly, you had the right crowd to evoke the right emotion that you needed for your heel, and in this case, Dom. I mean, it was a great little one step, dance that they were doing there. I loved it for what it was worth. There was a sick ass spot where JD McDonagh tried jumping up on the side apron and he was trying to run in for an attack. And freaking Oba just did like a damn elbow strike. I mean, it just knocked the hell out of JD, like right in the face, and he just went immediately back first onto that side apron and bounced off onto the floor. It's a sweet ass spot, definitely worth checking out. Again, like you got to watch that on slow mo. You really got to watch that on slow mo. I mean, JD sold the fuck out. Kudos to JD for selling that. Like seriously, insane little spot. I thought for sure maybe we were going to get some type of a cameo there by Brock Lesnar. If not, Jacob Fatu doing something, but no, when it was all said and done, once Oba was finally able to get his hands on Dominik Mysterio, it basically was lights out, right? So I mean, again, this was pretty much Tom and Jerry. It went down exactly how you thought it was gonna go down. Chicken shit, Dominik Mysterio just but you kind of figured that he was somehow Dominic pick up the win, would he? Right? But no, no. Besides having JD McDonagh, nothing else had played out. So was quite taken back by that, especially by the promo at the end. The odd promo that Oba cut. I don't know if you guys had the same impression. You would have to sound off and let me know. But I had the strongest impression that somebody maybe was like coming out, like maybe if Oba was killing time for someone to come on out there, but like it never happened, which was just kind of baffling for me, honestly. Some of the stuff that Oba Femi had said, by the way, I've got some of his words here. I had jotted it down right before I came on here. By the way, if you guys are enjoying yourselves so far, you know what time it is, especially if you're checking out the webcast version of the show. Just look at the text that's down, a little lower third text that we got on the screen right now. You know what time it is. Again, you enjoying the show and all that. And I know many of you guys are, and I appreciate you all as always. Make sure you show that ultimate love. Thank you in advance. But yeah, it went down. The match went down exactly how I thought it was gonna go down. I don't mind Dominik Mysterio essentially being murdered by Oba Femi this week. Oba is just Oba's a beast. Dom, most importantly, he's Dominik Mysterio. I mean, he still has the crowd in the palm of his hands. Not to mention, he's still doing his thing in AAA and all that. I mean, he's just a jack of all trades, right? So, you know, totally fine with how things played itself out. Oba afterwards talked about how he's now made it to the King of the Ring final and that the picture is starting to become crystal clear and that he's one match away, and then the ruler will have his crown. He'll beat whoever he needs to beat, even Brock Lesnar. So here we are again with the continuation of name calling, right? Hey, Brock, I ain't forget you, right? The trash talking. Oba mentions he thought this would be the night Brock would come. He also mentions how he looked up to Brock as a man, but now questions whether Lesnar is a man at all. Nice little dig. There we go again with the masculinity check question, right? Consecutive weeks here that Oba has been doing this and all that. Mentions what Brock Lesnar's legacy will be. Well, for Oba, his legacy, I mean, it's quite simple. He'll be the ruler, the mountain that Brock cannot climb or conquer. He will be king, and Brock will be a man who simply ran from Oba Femi. And that was pretty much how the show. I didn't forget about the other stuff that happened during tonight. So I don't want you guys going, oh, well, that's it. Okay, great, great. No, we still got more to talk about from tonight's show. And we got headlines and all that, but like we just go with the flow, the natural flow of the conversation, whatever comes to mind, basically. Is how we do it here, rather than go in chronological order. It just felt like there was serious hang time in that promo of Oba's, and we just went off the air with Oba just continuing to hold on to the microphone and then hitting his pose. And I thought something was gonna happen. Did not happen. Was very, very odd. I'm curious to learn if maybe some type of back and forth was maybe considered, and then at the last minute, it was just, yeah, no, we're not gonna go in that direction. Your guess is as good as mine, but I'd be very, very curious to know what the 411 is on that one. Other action from tonight, Logan Paul, we teased it at the top. Logan Paul returning. It looks like for now he is still not fully recovered. Although, if you're following him on social media, you see some of the videos he's put out there of him rehabbing and all that. Some funny stuff that he put out. Kind of got a nice hearty chuckle. He came out with Austin Theory as they tried to do their best sales pitch to have Javon Evans join the Vision. To which Javon is like, "Yeah, nah, I'm really, really good." And keep in mind, Javon Evans, he's pretty much advanced to the semifinals. He'll be facing Jay Uso, and the winner of that, now that we know, will be facing Oba Femi. Yeah, winner of that will be facing Oba Femi. So that is going to be hella good. We'll look at the brackets for you guys, give you guys all the very latest on that in a hot second. But Theory, Paul, yo man, this ain't an option. We're not suggesting like this is the mandate. You will be joining the Vision, whether you like it or not. So they were trying to force this on him. Javon wasn't having it, and he pretty much said, "You know what? If you guys want to fight right now, like either one of you guys, let's go ahead, let's do it." So we saw an impromptu match between Theory and Javon Evans. Javon picking up the win, about 7 minutes and some change. I gotta say, this was good. It's a sleeper hit match of the night. And for me to say that, like, don't get me wrong, Theory is a good wrestler, but like so far since he's been in the WWE, on the main shows, like I can't really off the top of my head name for the love of me, even if you told me like $1,000 is on the line, I really couldn't tell you for the love of me, like 5 singles good ass matches of Austin Theory since he's been part of the main roster. But that streak ended like tonight because the chemistry between Javon and Theory, I thought was pretty solid. And I don't know if that was mainly due to Javon, or just no, the development of Theory is really coming along. Um, I don't know what it is, but I tell you what, this was a good win for Javon Evans, and I particularly love him being in the crosshairs with Austin Theory there. and Logan Paul, basically the Vision. I love that because this could essentially come back to bite him in the ass for not joining the Vision. And for those of you that's curious, like, see, what's the sales pitch? Like, why would they come to Logan Paul? Pretty much said it best. He was like, look, the goody good two shoes persona that we've been seeing. No, 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 no. We see that dog that you got in you. We know what you're really capable of, and you've got a very bright career ahead of you. And all these reasons why you should be with the Vision. That pretty much was the sales pitch and everything. Um, by the way, this match ended with a hell of a spear that came out of nowhere from Braun Breaker as Javon tried going up to the top. He was looking for that OG cutter, and then just wham out of nowhere. Breaker connecting with the spear. So automatically disqualification. Javon Evan wins that way and everything. And next thing you know, Street Profits come out. For a second there, I thought maybe we were going to be getting Seth Rollins. I mean, after all, they did a really nice video package, which, reminds me, the video package is for Braun Breaker, for Seth Rollins. Those were really, really good. I even enjoyed the NXT alumni video package that they did for Alexa Bliss. I actually thought that was really good as well. Some superb quality work. I love the camera angles, the sequencing. They did everything right with those video packages that they showed. Good stuff. But Street Profits came out. Angelo Dawkins back on the saddle again. They pretty much came to the rescue for Javon Evans. And as we've been seeing these past several weeks, including everything that led up to Saturday night's main event, where the Street Profits had took on the Vision for the tag titles and all that, and they came up short. We've been seeing Profits and the Vision just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So to now do this new incarnation here, where we've now got the Profits associating themselves there with Javon Evans, and then we got Seth Rollins as well, right? We got him in the mix as well. You just can't help but wonder, especially after the cryptic, if you want to call it cryptic, I just look at it and say it's a post. Hey, don't forget about me from Bronson Reed. I would imagine we're going to be seeing Bronson Reed a lot sooner rather than later. It's safe to say we should be seeing him, like, honestly, if we don't see him by Night of Champions, we should definitely be seeing him sometime before the month of July is out. There's definitely going to be so think about that for a second. So Logan Paul, Austin Theory, Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker, right? So there's your four guys right there. Trust me, I think it's just a matter of time before Logan Paul starts getting physical again and all that. And he's going to get physical when it counts the most. I can see that right now, right? It's going to be one of those scenarios where, wait a minute, the son of a bitch, he's been faking the whole time, or right? But it turns out he's been healed for a little bit. That's how I kind of see that playing itself out and all that. So I can't help but wonder, Javon Evans, Street Profits at the barbecue. I think we got an idea what they all bringing, but I want to know, what is Seth Rollins bringing to the barbecue? And he better not be bringing his coffee. I don't care how good that coffee is. He can't be bringing no coffee to the barbecue. I want to know. I want to know what Seth Rollins is bringing to the barbecue. Now, see, if Seth goes, hey, I'm bringing the potato salad. First thing I'm doing, I'm saying, what kind of potato salad are we talking about? We talking about that Omnish potato salad? Like, I ain't feeling that. Are we talking about devil egg potato salad? Because if we talking that, ooh, okay, that's and you got to make sure when you make it, you can't just be doing it the bland ass way. You got to put a little soul in it. When I say soul, you got to put some seasoning in that bad boy. But kind of interesting how everything is starting to line up here. with all of those guys. Charlotte Flair was in action against Roxanne Perez. Charlotte Flair picking up a win, as in the final minutes of that one, Liv Morgan tried interfering. Alexa ends up tripping her on the apron, and then while the ref had attended Liv Morgan, Alexa had reversed a small package in favor of, what was that? It was in favor of Charlotte. We thought the match was maybe going to be over, but Roxanne kicked out at 2. Match went a little bit longer as Roxanne tried to go for the Pop Rocks. Charlotte ended up countering it. She reversed. It was, I'm trying to think, did she kind of do almost a Alabama slam? I think she almost kind of did like a little short mini version of that. Went right for the legs, did the figure 4 or the figure 8, pretty much making Roxanne tap out and all that. So Roxanne tapping out. Now, you know what was kind of surprising about everything, all things considered, with the Judgment Day, we've been seeing these backstage little segments, each and every single week. And, it seems like Roxanne kind of has some type of motive going on and everything. And I'm surprised that we didn't get another one of those kind of segments, because not for nothing, but before the match, Roxanne and Liv were talking, and Liv basically was like, yo, let's just focus on me and Dom. We're the ones that need to focus right now and everything, right? And Roxanne was like, "Oh yeah, sure, Liv. Yeah, no problem. And I'll make sure I do my best to really soften the hell out of Charlotte Flair for you there." And Liv was like, "Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I love that." Right. So, you can't help but wonder here, did Roxanne really put her all into this, or you know what I'm saying? You really can't help but wonder. You really can't help but wonder. Um, I'm not sure what to make of this Roxanne, like with what happened tonight. I'm a little bit kind of puzzled right here, because now when you're looking at the brackets and we're looking at the women's side, so now we've got EO Sky, who, she defeated Raquel Rodriguez earlier in the night on this week's Raw. We'll talk about that match more in a little bit. She's waiting for the winner of the Liv Morgan Charlotte Flair match. So, oof, is all I have to say to that one, because it's like, damn, Liv versus Charlotte. And I gotta admit to you guys, like, no shade to Alexa Bliss, but I miss Charlotte in the title picture, like legit. I think the honeymoon period with Alexa, I think it been reached its peak a few months ago. And I just feel like now we're just trucking along, and it's time to maybe switch it up a little bit. Now, that doesn't mean don't take it what I'm saying for granted. I'm not saying Charlotte needs to go heel. No, I like seeing this Charlotte that's running around, interacting with the fans and everything, and smiling and being jovial and all that. I love that. I want to continue to see that version of Charlotte Flair run around and all that. But man, Charlotte and Liv. That should be a good match, but like I'm also thinking about, wow, what if Liv advances and it's Liv and Io for your Queen of the Ring final? Here's something to have in the back of your head for a little bit. I don't know what's going on with Rhea Ripley. I don't know if it's a story angle or what, but remember the last time that we saw her in action was Clash in Italy. And if you didn't watch SmackDown this past week, they pretty much had said Rhea Ripley's being evaluated right now for some type of injury she sustained. So I guess it's kind of touch and go right now. I guess they're doing some more tests, trying to figure out like, okay, what's up. So there's that. You can't help but wonder, okay, well, is Rhea gonna be pretty much ready to go potentially by a SummerSlam? And if so, if Rhea is gonna be ready to go, then you can't help but go, okay, so what are we doing here? Is it ultimately gonna be a case where maybe EO Sky like wins it all and then she can go for a championship of her choosing? She gets to choose between Rhea Ripley or Liv Morgan. Or does somehow Liv Morgan win it? And then obviously by default, she's going after Rhea Ripley. I'm having a hard time seeing WWE put themselves in that position where they want Liv and Rhea to fight for all the gold. I'm having a really hard time seeing that. So I don't know. I don't know. You can't help but wonder if maybe Roxanne Perez is going to potentially show her true colors in that Liv Morgan Charlotte Flair match, or what. But you know she's got something on her agenda these past couple of weeks that we've been seeing and all that. So I did talk just a little bit about the EO Sky Raquel Rodriguez match for what that was worth. That was and that was a Queen of the Ring semifinals joint. That one was pretty short. All the matches this week, it felt like they were about 5, 6, 7 minutes, and then just a shit ton of commercials after all of that. EO Sky picking up a win at about the 7 minute mark. Look, for what it was worth, great solid effort, great outing by both women. Um, go it was okay. Oh, okay match. I wish I could have seen a little bit more from both of them. I will say there's definitely some pretty solid chemistry there between both of them. I'd love to see the two of them do it again. I gotta say, I love what they had did. But EO Sky advancing, so that was good. Just trying to think if there's anything else on here for tonight's Raw. I think that's it. Oh, Lyra Valkyria. She got some news that made her happy from Adam Pierce as she ran off to tell Bailey. I'm trying to figure out like what the hell that news was about, but we sadly do not see Lyra and Bailey again. But we do have an idea what that was all about. Let me explain. So for next Monday's Raw at the O2 Arena out there in London, Lyra and Bailey are going to be getting a tag team title shot against Paige and Brie Bella. So maybe that's safe to say that's what she was excited about, right? So we're going to get to see that match next week. That should be pretty good. One other match was announced. I'm trying to see if I can pull that up for you guys. But there was one other match that was announced for next week's Raw. Let's see. Yes, Street Profits. I was remembering right, but I wasn't too sure. Street Profits, they'll be challenging the Vision for the World Tag Team titles. So that's another match that's going to be going down. So that should be pretty solid. I don't think there was anything else from tonight's WWE Raw. Let me just go back, look at my notes one more time. Yep, Raquel, EO. Oh, did not talk about Chad Gable taking on Rusev. This was Chad Gable's first match as Chad Gable. What, like a year plus or whatever, or longer, however long it's been. Um, Kind of interesting what was going on there because he was interviewed right before the match by Jackie Redmond, And I love this redemption tour arc that Chad Gable is on, right? It's like, pay your penance, man. Like, your past sins, like you need to own them. It's the only way that you could truly be forgiven and all that if you're trying to move forward and everything. And Chad tells Jackie, like, yeah, I know I still need to make amends. And after my match with Rusev, I hope I can continue to meet with those people and make amends with them. And as he's walking away, we see him stop dead in his tracks and he's looking at Maxine Dupree. And Dupree was having a conversation with Austin Theory. And they both just look on at him. Theory, particularly, a scolding look and just dismisses him with a, and Maxine kind of looking like, you want to say something. And Chad, I guess he's just so embarrassed, or he couldn't bring himself to, at least maybe not in front of Maxine, that he decides to just let it be and focus on his match instead. I love that. I love that, because if there's anybody that is going to be really taking it to the heart, definitely Maxine Dupree, for all this shit that Chad Gable put Akira Tozawa, Otis, right? All the crap that he put them through, all the crap, right? And Maxine Dupree, like, firsthand, ringside seat for all of that crap, right? You could almost say his actions, Chad Gable's actions, kind of started a chain of events and ultimately put Maxine Dupree on this path that she's on now, where she's essentially sided with Austin Theory and all that. And like, there's no point of return. I can so see in the very near future Chad Gable trying to get a word in there one on one with Maxine. And essentially, Theory comes up, gets in his face, like, we got a problem or whatever. I can see these two guys ultimately just going back and forth in a nice little program. I think that's going to be a damn good matchup whenever it does happen. Chad Gable picking up a win over Rusev via submission. Decent work here. Um, the Baltimore crowd, very interesting, because here's the thing. Here's the thing. I don't feel that Chad Gable should have been wrestling in front of this Baltimore crowd. Let me explain to you the reason why. From what I was seeing and hearing, with my TV set and all that, it seemed like the crowd really wasn't quite all in on Chad Gable. And I think a big part of that reason is because they probably were not even aware of the stuff that Chad was doing in AAA. And then even if they were made aware of what was happening with him in that promotion, they don't give a damn. And I hate to throw, I really, really hate to throw, and it's not like, here's the thing. It's not a Baltimore thing. So I don't want Baltimore fans to feel like I'm taking a shit on them right now, because it's so much more than a Baltimore thing. I don't know what it is, but it seems that in all my years of living in the DC, Maryland, Virginia region, and I have had many, many fortunate opportunities to talk to many wrestling fans of different ages, races, men, women, trans wrestling fans. The one thing that they, like, the vast majority have in common, if I were to talk to 50 DMV wrestling fans, I'm lucky if 5 of them, if I go, how about that Chad Gable? And it's like, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, man. Those 5 people, they're gonna be like, yeah, man, da, 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 da. Man, you saw what he did in AAA? Yo, fuck yeah. What did you think about? Oh man, that shit. Yeah. And they're not just gonna talk about the joint with Ludwig Kaiser. They're gonna be able to pull like other shit. They're gonna be because they like regularly watch, right? The DMV wrestling fans, the vast majority of them are the same ones that it's like, hey, do you watch NXT? Nah, I don't care about that show. Oh, but they got this person, they got this person, and you never know. You're probably gonna see them on the main roster one day, and it's like, I don't care. I'll see them on the main show then. But yeah, I don't go out of my way to watch that. I just watch Raw or SmackDown. That's it, and the pay-per-views, right? So the crowd reactions there for Chad Gable tonight, you know, I'm not gonna say I was surprised by the reactions he got. I mean, it wasn't like, first of all, he didn't get booed, but it was just kind of, oh, hey, all right, all right. I think the way it should have played out even more, honestly. And I know they tried to have what was it, Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee come out and do the save there on Chad Gable and Rey Mysterio because Ethan Page came in there right before the match ended, but then definitely after the match ended, he was getting some licks in there on Chad right before Ray came out, and then he kind of got owned a little bit, did Ray, and then Dragon Lee comes out, and so now you're kind of flipping it from what we had saw last week, where Chad was the one that came to the rescue and all of that. I don't know if the in-ring return should have happened in front of this Baltimore crowd tonight. I don't know. I don't think WWE should have. I don't want to say wasted, but I don't think they should have penciled in his in-ring return in this city. If you maybe wanted to go, holy shit. Holy shit. Are you serious? Dude, guys, I have breaking news. Holy shit. You gotta be kidding me. Hold up, hold up, hold up. I love this. I gotta read this because if this is like breaking news, I mean, it is breaking news, but like, I want to know to like what extent this is breaking news. Hold on, hold on. I thought that was my Ring doorbell. But no, that was something else here. Hang on. I just want to read that. Let me read this here. Hang on, guys. Oh wow. Okay, so like one more phase. It's one more phase. I will tell you guys this breaking news in just a hot little bit. Let me just finish the train of thought from from what we were talking about. Chad Gable. I don't know. I think instead what probably should have happened, maybe they should have. I mean, do you really repeat another Rey Mysterio, Dragon Lee? Do you really maybe go that route, right? I mean, you got to be very, very spare with the Rey Mysterio matches, right? So you got to make sure it counts where it really needs to count, since Ray's doing double duty, with AAA and all that. So I don't know. It's kind of one of those. What else could you have done there? Honestly, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what you could have done. I'll tell you what you could have done. You could have done a tag match where Otis and Akira Tozawa went up against Rusev and Ethan Page. And then maybe afterwards, Rusev Page, they get a win over Otis and Tozawa. And then post match, they continue to beat the living shit out of them. And then maybe you could have had Chad Gable come out, even up the odds, send those guys running. And then there we go. We've got Otis and Akira. They're in the ring. They're looking on at Chad, and we can see Chad, hey, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me, and they're both looking at him and they just walk away. Not a heelish thing, but like, and the commentators can easily sell it like, yo, that bridge was burned like really, really bad. Like, appreciate what Chad's doing here, but this might be one bridge he's not going to be able to fix. And maybe Joe Tessitore, yeah, maybe only time will tell. Yeah, right. That could have at least began the chapter of, okay, so now he's trying to make amends with, right? Just go right to it. Like, there's no reason to insult the intelligence of the fans. Like, the fans know all the people that Chad Gable has wronged, right? So just go ahead, just go right for the juggler already in this, right? I think that probably would have been a smarter way to utilize Chad Gable. That's just me. But as far as WWE Raw tonight, in a nutshell, I mean, time kind of went by pretty quick. Short on the matches though, like the length time. Um, Great to have Raw back in the United States, but if you're on the East Coast, it's really bad because it's like, oh man, that means for us guys with the shows, that means we're gonna be back on until almost midnight essentially, right? Or almost 12:30. Like, oh, that sucks. But then you hear how next week, oh wait, they're gonna be in the UK and it's gonna be a 2 p.m. show here in the United States. And it's like, oh, I get to do an early post show and then have the rest of the day to myself and everything. I'm so fucking almost up to here though. Like, I'm a Roman Reigns fan, but like, can we just cry foul already? Roman Reigns. Oh man, nah, man, it's different this go round. I'm gonna be on every single show. I ain't taking no days off. I'm not resting. Like, I'm gonna be doing my thing the whole damn summer. Believe that. And it's like, we keep getting these, okay, Roman's gone for like 2-3 weeks, and like, how many more times are we gonna fucking get Roman Reigns returns? Roman Reigns returns. What does Roman Reigns have in store this week as Roman Reigns returns? Roman Reigns is back, and it's like, I'm not really feeling the role that Roman Reigns is in right now. It just feels so fucking stupid. Roman just shows up and it's like, okay, Usos, Jacob, come on, man, kiss and make up. Like, come on, y'all gotta get on the same page here. Come on now, I'm gonna put you in a corner. Go to timeout. Jacob, you gotta go to timeout, and then like that's pretty much it with Roman Reigns. It's like you're trying to tell me that there is no man backstage in the locker room that's like, yo, fuck all this, like, including LA Knight. It's like, okay, LA Knight, here's what's so hypocritical of LA Knight right now. Oh, I don't care if you're Roman Reigns, I don't care if you're this, I don't care if you're that. And it's like, okay, well, Knight, when it counts the most, all that bass and sticking the chest out and yeah, and all that to Adam Pierce, you feel as passionate as you do, and all of this other shit. Won't you just go right up to the damn head of the snake, in this case, Roman Reigns, and just be bowdy bowdy already? And it's like, we're seeing so much dancing around Roman Reigns. And I just feel it's like, one of the weakest plot holes of this whole Roman Reigns, and one of many flaws in the Roman Reigns character right now and everything. And if the reports are true about CM Punk, that pretty much, he's going to be going over to SmackDown, that fucking sucks because Punk made things so fucking interesting. Right before he was champion and even after he became champion. I mean, he was just, verbally tagging people left and right. And I was loving this shit. And, I would like to see that same kind of shakeup go down. Like how is it all these weeks that's gone by and we've got this King of the Ring tournament, all that shit, and we have yet to have Roman Reigns backstage and he just crosses paths quietly with Oba Femi. No words are spoken. They just look at one another. Roman walks by. Usos walk by. Jacob looks at Oba, sizes him up, sucks his teeth, walks past. How do we not do that yet? How do we not do that yet? How do we not have Roman, cross paths with fucking, I'm just trying to think who, yeah, and see, here's the biggest problem because once you get past Oba, unfortunately, you really haven't built anybody up. Now, I'm not saying serve them up to Roman, do a match. I'm just saying, as far as okay, it's all about paying it forward, building up the next crop of guys. And it's like right now, we've just got Roman focusing on the bloodline. Like it's almost like, yo, I'm back, but I'm only back for this. This is all I'm interested in right now. I don't really care about anything else. I'm just interested in this. That's how it's really kind of playing off to me as a viewer. And then, you got Oba, and it's like, yeah, okay, that's great. Yeah, seriously, like that's great with Oba. And you got Javon Evans, he's coming along, like that's great. Okay, Street Profits are back. Okay, that's great. But like, where is that next AJ Styles? Where is that next Daniel Bryan? Where is that next CM Punk? Like they're not, they're being very slow. They're being very, very slow. And it almost kind of seems like, dare I say, creative isn't really kind of sure what to do and everything. Oh, let me not forget about Penta. We definitely got to make sure we put Penta in there, who, by the way, no Penta this week. Very surprised there was no Penta on the docket for this week. But yeah, man, the same old stupid shit with the bloodline that anytime yours truly is kind of noticing the rinse and repeat that's going on with the bloodline, and I'm talking about it, that's not good, right? And I'm one of the most lenient, flexible cats that's out there. That's like, okay, you're gonna give me mashed potatoes on Monday. Okay, cool. Tuesday, you're gonna give me mashed potatoes, but you're gonna mix it with a little bit of sour cream and you're gonna put a little bit of cheddar cheese in there. Okay, cool. Wednesday, you're gonna give me some mashed potatoes, but you're gonna mix in there some corn, some boneless chicken, you know, chicken meat, put some gravy in there, some white gravy, some brown gravy. Oh, okay, cool. All right. But after like, three, almost four times, I'm tired of mashed potatoes. You just gotta give me something entirely different. That's how I'm really starting to feel here with Roman Reigns and the whole bloodline situation. But that's just me. That's just me. So that is WWE Raw in the books. Yo, I got some interesting news I want to share with you guys. Keep your fingers crossed. So you heard me getting so excited earlier. I just got a email about 12 minutes ago that NBC Universal with their internship program. They are apparently moving forward in the recruitment process for a 2026-2027 academic year internship opportunity with them. So let me explain what happened. So, I heard about this essentially through my school, and I was trying to find, some type of internship that I could, do going into the fall and all that. And one thing that I am officially going to be doing, I'm going to be teaching remotely while juggling a full semester of classes while also working part time. Yeah, I know I'm crazy like that. Uh, but I'm excited to do the teaching. Like, if there's one thing that I've always been really good at, years upon years upon years, is like teaching others, like in some form. Um, and I have to be one of those people that has like the most patience in the world. Like, it wasn't always the case either. That's the crazy part. It wasn't always the case, but it definitely came in time and all that. So I saw an opportunity with NBC Universal, and I said, "Well, let me see what this is about, what all it entails." And so I sent my work. Now, when I say I sent my work, I don't want you guys getting the impression, oh, so you sent them like clips of your show, of audio of your podcast? No, no, no. No, my pretty babies, no. Um, Longtime listeners know that, for the past 2 semesters, I've been I transferred to a 4-year college, but I should be getting my bachelor's in journalism. I'm hoping I can get it as early as 2027, but I'm really prepared for 2028. Anyway, I basically I have been doing news writing classes. So like legit, I know how to write a news article. I even know how to do court reporting. I know how to do obituary reporting, news videography. You know how you guys are watching interesting news stories and just the sequencing and how everything is put together. I've already done that type of stuff, right? So I have a news reel. I actually have news reels. And so I sent all of this work to them several weeks back, and they hit me up like a couple of weeks later, and they were like, "We would like for you to do a pre-recorded interview." They were like, "Go into this, be prepared to do the interview as if you were actually talking to somebody live. So come in energetic, be ready to answer our, any questions, all of that. If you get nervous, don't worry. You'll have 2 takes to record your answers to the questions, and you'll be able to pick the one you want to submit." And it was like, "Oh, okay, cool." So I did that with the quickness. And then it's funny because, like, I think when I did that, it was mid-May when I did that. And I remember telling my family about it, and they were like, "Okay." And then like 1 week passed, and I said, "I still haven't heard anything." And they were like, "Well, maybe that's good. Like, the longer it goes, that's good. It works in your favor." And so here just now I got an email saying that they're moving forward with the recruitment process. So I made it past the pre-recorded interview stuff. So now, what's going to happen here is my information has been forwarded to my local NBC 4 DC station and Telemundo 44 for roles with the station. And apparently, the hiring leaders will be reviewing the application materials, and at this point, if they want to move forward in the process, they'll be in touch with me to schedule a interview. And it looks like it may come within the next 3 to 4 weeks, and apparently they've given me some materials to review and be able to speak about my experience and how it fits in with the job description. Apparently, they want me to do research on them. Business unit mentioned above, familiar with the content of the company. That's a no brainer. And so, yeah, this is awesome. So you guys keep your fingers crossed for me. Again, internship, that's great. And this is something that I definitely need because it's actually one of the key cornerstones for where I'm at. Like you got to do two cornerstones in order to get your bachelor's in journalism where I'm at. And like one of them, you got to do an internship with a news media organization, right? And it's got to be like on an approved list or something along those lines. So keep your fingers crossed for me and hope that it all goes right. So that's great. That's great. I mean, what way to kick off the new week, like seriously. I got to tell you guys, and I appreciate you all that had reached out to me, whether private message or emails. I know I was talking to some of you guys on the phone the last couple of days. My mother-in-law, she is doing a lot better. For those of you that are not aware, not a long drawn out story, but I know I shared the posting on social media. If you didn't see it, basically in a nutshell, my mother-in-law, she had got some knee replacement surgery. She had her entire kneecap replaced. And originally, she wanted to come home and just do her rehab with us. And we were like, you really are going to need to be in a position where somebody is taking care of you like 24/7. You got everything that you need. You don't need to worry about steps and all of that craziness. Be a much better idea if you just kicked back and you just stayed at stay at a rehab facility, a physical rehab facility. So we came across this one place, pretty much a place where my father-in-law had went to, and a couple of issues, but like overall, it was good. He just was being a dick. That when it's all said and done, from the staff that we had spoke to, he pretty much was just being a dick. But like, we're like, okay, look, why don't you just try to go over there? This is what we're saying to mom. Like, you should be okay. She only lasted 15 hours. She got there last Wednesday. When she got there late in the afternoon. They gave her cold ass dinner. She got a cold ass hot dog, cold ass tater tots. Tams went to check on her later that evening. These people did not think to see if she needed some type of medicine for her pain since she's just coming off of surgery. Like none of that, right? They didn't think to. So Tams actually had to ask the caregiver that was responsible for her from that point going into the overnight hours, going into I think the way they do it is like maybe like 12-hour shifts or whatever, right? So basically, Tammy was like, my mom's complaining to me that she's, been in pain for like several hours. Can we get her like some Tylenol or something? And so, the caregiver, hooked her up and everything. And I did not know this until I got the phone call, or we got the phone call. What was that? Thursday morning. But like basically from Wednesday afternoon to Thursday morning, like 5:30 the next day, my mother-in-law did not get any sleep at all. The padding for what they call a bed was not really a padding at all. She was hearing a lot of noises, staff moving a whole bunch of shit around. Nobody checked on her after Tammy was there. So remember what I said. Tammy was like, "Hey, can we get her some type of Tylenol or something?" So Tammy left her at like 9 o'clock at night. Nobody checked in on my mother-in-law rest of the night, which is like unheard of, fucking unheard of. And she was awake like the whole time, just miserable, in pain. And she called us and she was like, "Look, I don't want to be here. Like, seriously, come and get me, please." And I threw some clothes on. I went and got her, and she told me everything that had happened. And my mother-in-law, she is a tough ass woman. To see her break down in tears as she was telling me that at one point, like, she had to use the bathroom, and she tried going to the bathroom on her own, and she slipped and fell. And my mother-in-law is not a person that's like full of pride, is arrogant, or doesn't know how to say, "Hey, I need some help." Like, if she needs help, she knows how to say, "Hey, can you do this for me?" She did what she did because the caregiver that was in charge, like, pretty much let it be known she didn't want to be bothered with. And so I saw this same caregiver. I was this close to giving her a tongue lashing, and she tried to lie and say she checked on her multiple times throughout her shift. And I'm like, I told her, I did say this to her. I said, like, she's right here. She's right in front of us. Like, she's telling me you only appeared once. And that was when my wife was here and you asked her for a Tylenol. Like, you did not check up on her at all from the time my wife left you at like 9 o'clock at night to now. And then the caregiver was like, yes, that's true. And it's like, so why would you fucking lie? Right? And I told her, I said, I'm respecting the fact that you're a woman. I said, but right now there are some things that I want to say to you, but I'm going to restrain myself from saying something that I'm gonna regret. And rather than her say, "Well, I'm sorry that you feel that way, all apology," she just turned around, like, disappeared. Didn't even like, was there anything that you need? Is there anything I can help you with? Do you need a wheelchair or anything? I actually had to go out in the hallway looking for a fucking wheelchair to put my mother-in-law in so we could get the fuck out of there. I mean, it was really, really bad. And I guess the caregiver was trying to do damage control because she went running to her supervisor and all this other stuff. And they were like, "Oh, could you please tell us, what happened?" I said, "No," I said, "I'm not interested in repeating myself." I said, "At this point, my wife is actually good friends with the director. So I'm sure you all will be hearing about it from the director." They're like, "Oh, okay." And then they try bombarding Tammy with multiple calls later that day trying to do damage control. She only spoke to them once, and I mean, she was like this close to cussing them out. But she pretty much was letting them know, yeah, I ain't having none of it. Like, you guys can fuck off. She's doing a lot better though. My mother-in-law, she's doing a lot better. Um, she looks so much better than when me and Tam saw her at that place. She's got more energy. She's more vibrant. She's got more color. I know I told you guys she had needed a blood transfusion because she had like lost so much blood when they operated on her and all that. But she's doing really, really good. So for those of you that were like, "Hey, it's unfortunate what happened," and hopefully, she's doing a lot better for you. So knock on wood for that. Like, seriously. And then something cool. If you did not see this, go on the YouTube page. So you type in youtube.com/the RCWR show. You've got the home section and then live, and then just go to the section that says posts. And when you go there, you'll see the photos I'm talking about. So as longtime listeners know, I had to say, or recent viewers, subscribers of the show, I had to say goodbye to my old car. It was a 2003 gold Honda Accord EX four-door sedan. I had to say goodbye to it. The damn gasket blew out pretty much the last day of the spring semester. Okay. And great timing too. I mean, literally, because just imagine if I had like one more day or like one more week of classes, I just wouldn't have been able to do them. But yeah, the gasket blew out and all that. And so pretty much to recap, cracked radiator as well, leaks in like 3 areas. I mean, it was just you know, how I managed was just by grace of God, like seriously. And I'm not a religious person, but like there was a higher power at play. Anyway, so this past weekend, I was looking at cars, and I saw some that kind of caught my interest, and some of the people I hit up, and it was like, man, nah, I'm good. Tams would go out, and there's one place she went out to in Alexandria. It was a husband and wife that were trying to sell this one car, and that just jive talking, you know, talking out of both sides. So, and the condition of the car was just like, she wasn't really feeling that, but it was really the jive talking that got her, the double talk. So that just kind of had her go, we came across this really cool dude, really cool brother out in Baltimore. See, I know I said what I said about Baltimore, but like, nah, nah, nah. There's good people in Baltimore. You just gotta know where to look. Came across this cool dude in Baltimore. He's got his own, what's the right words I'm looking for? Basically, he's got his own shop, right? So like he buys cars from auctions, and then he fixes them up, and then he sells them for a profit, right? And then he can even help you with getting a clean tag, and all that good stuff, right? Everything's on the up and up. It's Everything's legit. So Tammy came to me on, what was it, Saturday morning. She actually woke me up and she was like, "Hey honey." I'm like, "What's up?" And she goes, because I'm a light sleeper. I've always been a light sleeper. It's just, I could be sleeping and littlest thing I will wake up. It's just how I am, unfortunately. I need it to be absolutely quiet in order for me to sleep. Littlest thing will wake me up. So she just literally like, "Hey honey." I'm like, "What's up?" And she's like, "What do you think about this car?" And she shows me this little video, and I'm like, I said, "Yo, that joint looks sexy as fuck." And she goes, "You want to see it?" I'm like, "When?" "Today." I'm like, "Yeah, but what happens if I like it?" She's like, "Well, then we'll buy it." I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Oh, okay, well, let me get dressed." She's like, "Yeah, get dressed, because like if we're gonna do this, like we got to go now, because I got to get the money before the bank closes, and then we can go do this." I'm like, "Okay, all right, bet." So we went to Baltimore, met this dude, damn good dude, really really cool cat. Showed us the car, and he really really took his time. No rush. We got to look at everything, ask all kinds of questions. While he was talking with her, I got to hop in the car by myself, and I got to drive it around a couple of times. And I was like, "Yo, this joint, it drives smooth. I mean, the braking is fantastic. Like, oh my God, I'm in heaven. I love it." So this one, and I ended up getting the car. So the same car that I ended up getting, that's the one that you see the pictures on the YouTube in the post section. So it's a 2007 Honda Accord, black. I mean, it checks off all the boxes. So I said, longtime friends and family know this about me. I said it as far back as like high school. My very first car, like, it's got to be a black car The sound system got to be banging. Give me that bomb ass AC and heat, right? Like that joint need to feel smooth when I'm on the road, yo. And this joint has all of that. This joint has all of that. I'm like a cloud nine. I showed it to my mother-in-law because she had to go to a doctor's appointment because like she had been wanting to see the car since we got it over the weekend. And so like she's been sitting in her recliner at times and she'll peek out the window. She's like, I could kind of see the car a little bit, but not really. It looks kind of cool, but I need a closer view. So she finally got her first view up front and close Monday morning. And she was like, you did good, y'all. She's like, y'all did good. Like that joint looked real nice. I'm like, yeah. She's like, yeah. She's like, that looked real nice. She's like, I like the tires. I'm like, yeah. She's like, yeah, I love the tires. So I love it. So what happened, the original car that I had, and I was fighting. I remember I got mad at my wife, believe it or not. Now that I look back on it, it was stupid. But the first car I got, my wife was like, no, 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 no. I'm not gonna put this car in your name and give you the title and the registration and all that in your name. She's like, no, this needs to be your experimental car. If you're gonna fuck up, you're gonna fuck up in this car, and I don't mind my name being attached. I want you to get your reps. I want you to get your experience, learn from whatever mistakes, that way when you ultimately go to your actual kind of dream car, you pick your own car and all of that, like then you're good. Then everything will be in your name and all that good shit. I'm like, oh, okay, all right, cool. And I remember I was mad at first. I was mad at her when she laid it out like that. Hey, I gave her flowers over the weekend. I said, I get it now. I said, I get why you operated the way that you did. Like, I appreciate that. And she's like, you see it now, right? I was like, I see it now. She's like, okay, good. And whoever this last owner was of this new car that I got, they love them some sound because they put in there a Kenwood Bluetooth car radio. Shout out if you guys know that, because I apparently when I was doing my research, I heard that like is pretty popular. But then when I opened up the trunk, I saw like two little wires that were hanging out, and I'm like, what the fuck is that about? And my mother-in-law took a look at it and she was like, oh, somebody was pushing like an amplifier or a sound system back here. I'm like, really? She's like, yeah, that's what that's about. I'm like, oh shit. And the Tam saw my eyes light up. She's like, oh man, you're giving him ideas. I said, yeah, too late. So I've already got the ball rolling, trying to figure out what kind of sound system I want to put back there and all that. So it's really, really cool. Like God is good, man. Like seriously. Because the timing of this, having the new car, it is perfect with everything that I got coming up. So that's all what's been going on with me. Once again, I hope everything's been going pretty good with you guys. I know for my people out there in New York, shout out to my people in New York, longtime listeners out there in the New York area, always been supporters of the show through many years. I am so fucking excited for you guys. The New York Knicks, after a 53-year drought, they got the NBA finals there. They won the NBA finals. They brought a championship home after 53 years. I mean, look, give San Antonio Spurs its credit. I mean, seriously, give that team, give that young coach. They will be back to the dance. I don't think we've seen the Spurs at the NBA finals like for the last time for like, oh, we probably won't see them again for like another 10 years, 15 years. No, they got a really good coach, they got a really good team. Um, and as long as you still have Craig Popovich in some form, because remember, he's like what now, the vice president of basketball operations or whatever, as long as you still have him looming, like just all the knowledge that dude has, that team is, yeah, you cannot count them out. What I watched of that series, for me as a longtime basketball fan, it was so baffling. Just okay, Spurs, you guys got the lead. I mean, my God, you guys like got your foot on the chest of the Knicks. And all you got to do is just continue to pile on, like just just pile on. And they just, I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was a case where they got complacent, and maybe that was like the lack of experience when it comes to the NBA finals. Maybe just the combination. Your guess is as good as mine. I can't really speak to it, but just from what I was seeing from a viewing standpoint, it just seemed like, yeah, yeah, we're good now. And they just took their foot off the pedal, and they just allowed the Knicks to just keep chipping away, and it was just fucking mind blowing for me, because I'm going, wait a minute, I ain't never seen, like, when Craig Popovich was the coach, man, Spurs ain't never operated like this. I'm like, what the hell is going on? I also saw many times during this series when there should have been some timeouts called for this team to really reset and regroup and re-strategize, and it did not happen whatsoever. Um, really weird, man. Really weird. I told you guys, I said I'm not was not seeing a sweep, but I just felt the Knicks by game 5 that they were going to get the job done and everything. And um I'm happy for New Yorkers. I'm happy for the state. Like, it's great for basketball as well. It's really great for basketball as well. I watched that game. I watched that game, and y'all got to admit that watched the game too. I mean, it was really looking like, okay, so it looks like this is gonna be tied up. Yeah, it's gonna be tied up. It was game 5, right? So it's gonna be tied up, and we pretty much are gonna have to go to game 6. And oh shit, we might have to go to a game 7. Way the Spurs are coming out and everything. And Knicks just, where there's a will, there's a way. They just kept chipping away at it. Insane. And the Knicks, I mean, my God, they are truly the king of comebacks, aren't they? I mean, seriously, I don't know what it is, but like certain teams, and I've seen this happen, it's rare, but I've seen this happen before. And I'll tell you the last time that I saw this play out. I'll tell you the last time I saw this play out, where, oh, here we go, the comeback, I would say I saw it quite a bit with Phil Jackson and the Bulls, and I saw it quite a bit with Phil Jackson and the Lakers. Definitely. Like, there'd be some games where I'm like, because Phil Jackson used to love wearing the hell out of that triangle offense, right? Shout out to you basketball fanatics out there, X's and O's and shit. But that tired ass triangle offense, that's what he was known for. That is what he was known for. But yeah, it kind of reminded me of those respected teams, but at the same time, it was its own beast. Just it was amazing. It was amazing watching. And you know what was also amazing too? How cool was it that the Inside the NBA crew, for the first time in their careers, they got to be part of the NBA finals. They got to do the pregame show, the halftime show, and then the post show. Like, I was so happy for them, man. It felt like a win for like the whole basketball community, essentially, right? So I'm looking forward to seeing more of this great partnership. I think, you know, I remember when the news broke that ESPN slash ABC was gonna be acquiring the IP for inside the NBA, that they worked out an arrangement. And I remember how so many fans were just like, "Ah, man, they're gonna change it. Da, 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 da. Man, they're gonna start putting Stephen A. Smith on that bitch." Da, 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 da." And I'm just kicking back. I'm going, why would you fuck with something that has proven to be good as it is? Like, no. Like, if you have an opportunity to obtain that IP, like all the viewership, all the awards that that show has obtained through consecutive years, nah, man, you're gonna go on ahead and you're gonna just let them do what they're gonna do. You're not gonna change a damn thing. The only thing that's gonna need to change is the call letters, right? Instead of TNT, it's now ESPN or ABC. Like, that's the only thing you need to change. Otherwise, just let them do what they do best. And I wasn't tripping. All that noise that I was hearing, I was not tripping. Tell me if I'm lying, because I bet you guys telling you go rewind. You never heard me say, "Oh, the show's gonna suck," or no. I just was like, okay, they're gonna continue on. It sucks they couldn't work it out. Have their deal continue with Time Warner Discovery, but it'll be all right. And I'm glad, and it just shows you that in the end, it paid to not assume and just kick back and just see how the shit played itself out and all that. So I saw a lot of the footage that was running around with the people that were celebrating the Knicks winning. Boy, the vandalism was strong, yo. Like, seriously, this is what I riddle me this real quick, and we'll move along. But what I never understand, if you're gonna riot, why riot like in your own city? Right? Especially like, just why don't you just go a couple of cities down? Or just, how about this? How about just don't do it at all? Right? If you are all about destroying some shit and like, you have no business being out there on the street, just take your ass home. Just take your ass home. I know the president had celebrated his birthday over the weekend, and there was a lot of events that was going on. I didn't care for it. I personally did not care for it. You know, I remember I remember the family was like, "Whatever you do this weekend, don't put that shit on." I was like, well, first of all, I ain't planning on watching it. So, like, I personally, I don't care for that. I don't know if it's true. I gotta look up and verify this, but apparently, I'm hearing now that the president had. I don't know if he was the one that picked the color, but I'm hearing that, like, the paint that was used for our Washington Monument and the whole, you know, water. I'm hearing that the wrong color was used, and that basically they're gonna have to repaint it. I don't know how true that is. That's just crazy as fuck to hear. That's I'm just gonna leave it at that. Hey, got some interesting other news to share with you guys. By the way, I was a few minutes late coming onto the show tonight, because right as I was getting ready to come into the studio, yeah, it's funny that getting ready to talk about this, considering Raw was in our area and all that. Check this out. So apparently in Fairfax, Virginia, and if you don't believe me, look this up when you get a free moment. In Fairfax, Virginia, there was a wing stop where this black woman, not a youngin, she looked like she is maybe in her late 30s to possibly early 50s. She went into Wingstop and she ordered some food. And her name is, it almost sounds like Nia Jax, but there's like some other stuff going on in there. It's like Nija or something along those lines. And the employee typed in for her name the N dash dash ending in the hard ER. And as some of you guys know that have been to places like Sheets, you can see the little double screen where you see the orders that's coming in, the orders that's being prepared, and then the orders that's ready for pickup. And at this particular wing stop, they had that same kind of Sheets double monitor setup, and clear as day, like, because they showed the footage slash camera footage, video footage that I guess people were taking with their phones or whatever. Maybe even the victim was the one that supplied that content. They had to blur it, but clear as day, like, this was no Photoshop job, none of that shit. I mean, it was the N dash 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 ending in the hard ER. And the reporter had asked her, how did it make you feel to, see this, um, on the screen? And she was like, I felt embarrassed. I felt enraged. I asked the employee, I told the employee what had happened, and, asked if they could, take that off the screen, like, what the hell? And, they like were just so nonchalant, and they were just making my food. And the reporter was like, wow, so they didn't like take it down, like they didn't like try to apologize to you? He's like, no, they just, you know nonchalant about it, and was just making my food. I asked to speak to a manager, and manager didn't think it was that much of a big deal. And the manager did try to apologize, but like, this whole ordeal, like, it was just so messed up and everything. And so um they reached out, this news station, they reached out to Wingstop Corporation. And Wingstop was like, okay, yeah, they released a statement to this outlet, and basically said, we take matters like this extremely seriously. And they were like, upon further investigation, the employee in question has been fired. And same reporter, hey, the employee in question was fired. And she was like, good, I'm glad that they got fired. We need better, these employees need better, sensitivity training. And there's just no reason to, be operating that way. And look, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. I lived in Fairfax County, Virginia. There are a lot of rich families, a lot of rich people. Like, you got to have some really good income to live in Fairfax, Virginia. Now, Alexandria, you can definitely, come across, you can live good in Alexandria, but you're definitely going to be seeing your fair share of middle class, a lot of low middle class, uh, low income families in Alexandria, Virginia. Same deal within reason in Chantilly. Uh, Loudon, like, you need Loudon money. I mean, it's fucking nice out there in Loudon. Fairfax Station, like, forget about it. That's typically kind of like millionaires. Fairfax Station, Virginia. Fairfax, there's a lot of nice homes. The apartments are overpriced as fuck. Um, you know, when you check out a lot of the restaurants, anything that has to do with customer service, right? Typically, the people that are in that position, it is mostly Hispanics. It's blacks. You see a decent amount of whites as well. I will definitely admit that, but it's more heavy on Hispanics, blacks, Africans. It's more heavy on that. So to hear that a wing stop in Fairfax and a black woman went in there and that's what happened. I find that to be very perplexing because it makes me go and to the news station's credit, they did try to interview the person that wrote that derogatory word. Yeah, that was the other thing. Besides it being on the screen, it was also put on the customer's food. So you know how they like usually staple the receipt to the bags? Yeah, like that name was just all over the place on like her multiple bags of food. And like, they tried to take the receipts of her name off, but like the damage was already done. And you're like, what the fuck? Here's the crazy part. I was thinking about Wingstop, and I actually had I said to my girl, I said, how come we don't like go to Wingstop? Like, food's good. Like, how come we don't do Wingstop more? She's like, I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. And then when she was asleep and I was getting ready to come in here and do the show, I'm like, oh shit, Wingstop. What the fuck? Like, well, I guess we'll be eating them with you guys for a while. But shout out to Wingstop corporate for handling that. I don't know if that employee thought that that was going to be kind of funny, just a funny thing to do. Um, stupid and reckless. That's the best way I can sum that up. Interesting other little headline news that we can talk about here. Big E. Big E is publishing his autobiography, and there's already some press releases for it. Check this out. WWE legend Ettore Big E Ewan chronicles his meteoric career in wrestling and entertainment and the private, unseen mental health battle that shadowed his success. At 20, he didn't expect to make it to 25. And if he did, he expected to spend the rest of his life on antidepressants, antipsychotics, in and out of psych wards. His depression was a time bomb, and the last thing he expected was a successful career in professional wrestling as it ticked away. In this unfiltered memoir, Biggie shares his extraordinary path to becoming the fourth Black WWE champion in company history and joining the celebrated tag team The New Day, and his parallel path through the mental health showdown that started in childhood. As he navigated a strict upbringing in Florida, frequent school changes, and a difficult social life, Biggie grappled with depressive thoughts and body image issues as early as 9 years old. How about that? When his passion for football turned into a full ride scholarship to the University of Iowa, the pressures of success, school, and injury continued to build, transforming his depression into horrifying and uncontrollable hallucinations. And when his career took off, he continued to be rocked with the ups and downs of his diagnosis, self loathing, and unpredictable treatment journey, even as he made a name for himself as Biggie, wrestling with his own demons as he entered the wrestling limelight, detailing his early struggle to find a ringside persona, career threatening injuries, and the unforgettable bonds he forged in the industry. How I Got Over offers a vulnerable and ultimately hopeful story of Ewan's intertwined odysseys through fame and mental health, and a testament to the power of resilience, community, and self acceptance. This book is supposed to be coming out sometime in early 2027. I read AJ Lee's book, Crazy as My Superpower, loved it. This sounds right up there with that, if not on a whole other level. I'm definitely going to be checking out. this book. I think, now more than ever, especially since I believe, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe this month is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. And it's very, very serious. I know that there are some people that, hear that and they don't think that they think that it's stupid. They think that it's silly. They think that men that are having mental health issues and maybe want to kill themselves and all this other shit, oh, they're just pussies. They're not real men. And try saying that to the children of the late comedian Robin Williams. Okay, try that. Seriously, try that. Try saying that to Layla Hathaway, the daughter of legendary R&B gospel soul singer Donny Hathaway, who committed suicide because of all the hallucinations and demons and struggles that dude was fucking dealing with. There's another one that comes to my mind. She died in the 80s. She jumped from she was a singer too. She jumped from her I think she was staying at a hotel. And I remember like the very next night, the Whispers did a tribute to her at the Apollo Theater. Her name escapes me right now. She did a movie with, matter of fact, I can type in the name of the movie. She did a movie. It was an underrated movie by Fred Williamson. Fred Williamson, that name should sound familiar to you guys. He's the actor that was in Black Caesar, black exploitation film back in the 70s. Uh, she was in a movie with Fred in the 80s. It was called Cracker. And she played like this soulstress woman that it was a minor role, but she definitely stood out in that movie. Hang on here. I want to type that in. So see, it's called Cracker, but it's also known as Soda Cracker. It's also known as hang on here. It's also known as the kill reflex. Yeah, it's weird, right? So like you can find the movie two ways. I don't want you guys to be thrown off, but if you type in the kill reflex, that's it. But it's also known as soda cracker. And it basically follows this Chicago detective played by Fred Williamson, whose partner gets killed. And it's kind of revealed like, hey, your partner was corrupt. And Fred Williamson's like, bullshit. No, the hell he wasn't corrupted. And so he's trying to clear his best friend slash partner's name. And he's just going down this weird rabbit hole of like stupid bullshit that was going on. Phyllis Hyman is the actress that I was thinking of. She dealt with a lot of bad fucked up demons and it ultimately, took her life. I mean, she was dealing with depression and and all of that. I know the main focus should be on men, but I just find it kind of odd that in 2026, when more and more men are being open about, the importance of mental health and, hey, it's okay if you're dealing with emotions, let it out. If you need to cry, cry. If you need to seek help, seek help. And we got this online rhetoric that's running around where y'all are being pussies, yeah, y'all not being. It's like, so what do you say to the women that are killing themselves and all that? What are we going, oh, well, women are looked upon as feminine anyway, they're looked upon as kind of weak, and that's why us men need to be protecting them. Like, man, fuck all that rhetoric. Like, seriously, that is just some sexist bullshit. Like, I think that this is what Big E is doing. Especially within the black community, especially. It is a unsung killer that takes a lot of our brothers and sisters out and everything. So I look forward to not just reading this book, but I'm hoping that some of the healthy discussions uh, and provocative thoughts, intellectual thoughts that can come from out of this. And I feel so passionately about this. Maybe maybe we can pull some strings and see if not as the RCWR show with Lee Sanders to get an interview with Big E, then maybe as journalists, Lee Sanders, we could maybe get a interview with him. So I'll keep you guys posted on that. Also, want to I found this interesting. The accused stalker of Liv Morgan has been found not guilty by reason of insanity. Not sure how many of you guys had peeped this out, but Sean Chong, the man accused of stalking Liv Morgan, has been found guilty by reason of insanity. Shout out to Post Wrestling. They noted that the U.S. District Court in the Middle District of Florida had held its trial. And apparently it lasted just about 30 minutes. Sean waived his right to a jury trial, allowing the judge to decide the case. So, way to just kind of expedite things so swiftly there and all of that. And he's been detained for a year, apparently. So, goes on to say that there were two separate psychologists that determined Sean was unable to he had not been treated for mental health issues in the past, and that he had not seen a doctor in more than 20 years. So, I mean, just stop and think about that for a second. When you got somebody that has been running around that long, undiagnosed, and Lord only knows, if this person would have been on medicine like yesterday, like a long, long time ago, they probably would be a better functioning member of society and all that. So, kind of refresh you guys' memory a little bit more. Going back to 2025 of last year, Sean flew from Scarborough, Ontario to Orlando, Florida, telling custom agents in Florida that he would be staying at the WWE Performance Center. And according to the criminal complaint, 4 days later, Sean traveled several hours to Liv Morgan's home, circled Morgan's property several times, and entered through her backyard, then attempted to gain entry to her front door, but was unsuccessful. Found and held an air pellet that was sitting inside her front porch, and after waiting several hours, left a note, departed. According to the criminal complaint against him, the note left at Morgan's home contained his name, address in Canada, and his phone number, which read in part, "It's me, Sean, the guy you hang out with on whatever the gaming platform is online. You've been trying to contact me, or should I say, reach out to me when I'm absent from that game. So who's the stalker, huh? I never said and did anything bad for over 10 years, yet you all dared hating me for no reason. I came here to pay just a friendly visit, nothing more. Yet I'm the one who looks like a stalker, thanks to you all. And all y'all think I'm going to have empathy, sympathy, and care about any of you anymore. I will start talking and doing whatever I want despite all of your shoosh finger faces that you all make. Yep, I just wanted to let you know that I was here. Jesus Christ, this is off the fucking rails. Yeah, and he would be arrested like a couple of weeks later after that, as he was recognized from the surveillance footage when he showed up to Liv Morgan's home days prior. So that's how all that had went down. WTF. What the fuck? Seriously. I hope that as far as the sentencing goes, you know, I'm a little conflicted about this. I don't feel that I don't know. It's a case by case, but in this particular instance with this individual, I just kind of feel like, you know what? Let's not do incarceration with this person. Let's instead maybe strongly consider psychiatric help. So maybe let's send them to a psych ward and they get all the necessary help that they need so desperately. See how they respond to therapy, see how they respond to medication. And then, I ain't talking about, let's do a year. No, 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 no. Let's do 3 years. Let's do 5 years. And then we go from there, right? That's the best way to really do that. So I really hope that the judge is also kind of looking at those things and is kind of taking it from there and doesn't let this guy off so lightly. Because remember Florida. I mean, it's been bizarro world out there. Like they're so fucking laxed out there, and shit has a way of coming back and biting the motherfucker in the ass, right? So it is Florida after all. Also, I see the mom from Alf hit a comedy little sitcom back in the 80s. She passed away at the age of 77. So if I'm not mistaken, that now leaves Alf, the voice actor behind the character. That leaves the son. That leaves the daughter. Yeah, yeah, because the dad died a long. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the dad died a long time ago. Now watch this. I hope I don't like type this in, and it turns out the dad is still alive. Because I remember the last time I was like, oh yeah, the dead, 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 this person's dead. I can't remember what TV show it was, but I was like, oh shit, that person is still alive. What the fuck? Yeah, the dad died in 2019. Yeah, the dad died in 2019. So now that I think about it, Back's right. Now that I'm thinking about it, I believe in like 2015 or 16, I think I had said to somebody, yeah, I think the dad from Alf, like he's dead, right? Like, and like, no, he's still alive. Like, really? No, he's still alive. It's like, oh shit. I'm pretty sure it was him. Yeah, the mom from Alf passed away at the age of 77. And also Eddie Adelman. That name may not sound familiar to you all, but he passed away at the age of 89. But let me hip you guys real quick to some wrestling. He is a member of the Massachusetts Broadcasters Hall of Fame, creating Sports Huddle, which was a live and interactive sports show on WEEI back in the late 60s. And as far as the wrestling world goes, because he does have a connection to the wrestling world, he's credited for creating the WWE King of the Ring tournament. I find it so fucking like odd that if there was ever a time to throw up a graphic in memory of or give a verbal shout out during the Raw broadcast, but it was not done. Very odd. I have to tell you, I don't even recall hearing Corey Graves or Joe Tessitore, who was filling in for Michael Cole, mentioning Eddie Andelman. If he did and you guys caught it, definitely please let me and everybody else know if we did not hear it. If we did not hear it, but it was in fact, hey, no, the guy did get his flowers. Let us know for sure. But yeah, he is credited with creating the WWE King of the Ring tournament. He partnered with Vince McMahon. The way the story goes, he partnered with Vince McMahon back in the mid 80s for the first tournament. And that 85 and 86 tournament, the way they designed it, it was at the Sullivan Stadium out there in Massachusetts. And the concept started like strictly as a charity joint where the proceeds would be donated to multiple children nonprofits. And rest was pretty much history, you know. And he went on record saying that the first King of the Ring joint that they did, they were able to raise more than like $100,000. So I mean, $100,000, you know, 1985, it's pretty damn good. That is pretty damn good. Very surprised he did not get his flowers. And for you AWA fans, he also did some stuff for them as well. Wrestling for a Cure is what he had did. Speaking of charities, did you guys hear about the woman that was bringing in all this money from this employer, and she basically was spending it on her kids to go to WWE events and all that? I actually have this pulled up. I was just seeing this earlier today, and I could not believe what the fuck I was reading. This is apparently a ex-director of a daycare center. Yeah, she pleaded guilty after being arrested for using money to fund trips to WWE events and other personal expenses. In a press release that was issued by the U.S. Attorney's Office, Eastern District of New York, they announced the verdict for the case centered around an ex-daycare director in Brooklyn, New York, Muriel Misyak. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but she used her employer's funds to pay for her and her 3 children's trips to WWE events, along with personal expenses. And we're talking $350,000 of the money she stole was used to take her 3 children to WWE shows, multiple WWE shows, mind you. She bought packages for her children to meet professional wrestlers at events as well. Get this. Homegirl took more than $2.75 million. You heard me right. $2.75 million from her former employer. This girl faces a maximum of 20 years imprisonment, as well as a restitution of $2,805,871. I mean, this is just ridiculous. She was hired by this daycare center in like 2013 as the program coordinator, and then was later promoted to director in 2020. And then apparently beginning in 2022, right on up to last year, she just started stealing the fucking money. That is sickening. Sickening. Just, I mean, come on, man. What the fuck? What the fuck? I mean, I don't know what's worse, a story like this, or I think it was like a husband and wife that were going around Kmart's, Walmart's, all kinds of stores, and they were Targets, and they were stealing WWE WWE toys. I know the new crave right now is motherfuckers are still in the Pokemon cards. I know that's the new one. They're still in the Pokemon cards. Matter of fact, something went viral. I think it was last week or the week before, where there was a group of young teenagers that broke into this little hobby store. I mean, they did it in the span of 30 seconds. I mean, I've never ever seen a smash and grab done in the span of 30 seconds like the way these kids. That said to me a couple of things. Like, number one, they've been at that store before, and just getting the lay of the land, right? And they knew exactly where they needed to be going and all that. I mean, just insane. Seriously, just insane. Uh, I don't feel sorry for this woman, but the person that I feel sorry for the most are the children. I feel sorry for the children because now it's one of those deals where okay, she faces imprisonment, and unless she has a really good lawyer and or the employer goes, look, we're not really trying to take this woman away from her kids. Like it really should not have escalated to this point. But the last thing we want to do is take this woman away from her kids. If there's any way, uh, you know, she can get like the lightest sentence possible, you know. But then it could be a case where even if the employer wants for her to get the lowest sentence possible, it could be a case where according to the law, well, no, the law says that, she could, like, because right, you got to think about the numeric number, like the higher the dollar value and all that is like, you know, so I don't know if it's 20 years, but she definitely could be doing mm, 10 years and maybe get out in 6 years with good behavior. But shit like that, I think about the kids, right? She's got it kind of wrong the way she was thinking about her kids when it was coming to treating them to all this crap and treating herself. But like now you got to be thinking about the kids as far as, well, who's going to be taking care of them if your ass ends up having trouble with the law? Didn't quite think about that, did you? Something you all definitely need to continue to be thinking about for you international wrestling fans, or for you wrestling fans that like checking out multiple promotions. If you happen to be subscribed to New Japan World, some interesting news came about from there. Looks like MLW Fusion has found a new home, apparently, as yeah, MLW Fusion is going to be popping up on New Japan World. I think it's either before the end of this month or before the end of July. I remember seeing a date of the 22nd. I thought I jotted that down in my notes here. Give me a second and I can tell you. For those of you that have New Japan World, June 22nd is when it debuts. So new episodes of MLW Fusion will stream free on NJPW World every Monday at noon. That'll be Japan's time. Whereas if you're on the East Coast in the United States, that's basically 11 p.m. Monday nights, 11 p.m. So yeah. So that's it's not quite man, they bounced around a lot when they were on cable, didn't they? I remember when they were on, was it BN Sports, Be All Sports, or something along those lines. I also remember seeing episodes of Fusion. Why do I feel like at some point I saw episodes of Fusion on Telemundo or Univision? I know that was Lucha Underground, but I could have sworn for a hot minute I saw MLW on Telemundo or Univision as well. Let me know. Maybe I'm going crazy and I got it kind of mixed up. I know Lucha Underground for sure, but I just kind of feel like maybe at some point MLW was on there too. But there was a couple of little networks that they were on. Also, something that I'm paying personal close attention to for the next little bit. Uh, big piece of news that went down. Fox apparently is going to be acquiring Roku in a record breaking deal. They're going to be acquiring Roku for $22 billion. If you thought what was going on with Paramount and Warner Brothers, they're gonna come together like peanut butter and jelly, and then who's the other ones? Skynet, Sky Dance, and fucking CBS and Paramount, all that other weird shit. Now we got Fox acquiring Roku for $22 billion. I cannot help but wonder, like, okay, what does this mean going forward for Fox content, right? Like, as far as, I mean, really stop and think about it for a second. Unless you have YouTube TV, Hulu, or you think about shows like the NFL on Fox Sunday, right? A little pregame show. Usually those shows are like one and done. Unless you got them on your DVR, like that's it. So with Fox and Roku, is it going to be a case where like there's going to be some type of, well, no, you'll always be able to watch it on demand via the Roku. Is Fox going to be looking at Roku and thinking about new original programming, right? Or are they maybe going to be considering that? Because, like, really stop and think about it. CBS has Paramount Plus. ABC basically has ESPN Plus, right? NBC Universal, they've got Peacock. Fox, like, they tried doing something a, a handful of years ago. The name of it is on the tip of my tongue, and it failed miserably. Almost kind of similar to when CNN Plus had launched. I remember that had failed miserably. Um, this could be a really smart move if Fox is looking at Roku from the standpoint of streaming new original content, exclusive content, exclusive new content on top of that. Because I'll give you a perfect example. This isn't long-winded. There's a guy I like checking out on QVC from time to time. He's a well-known, I don't know if you call him a chef. Yeah, I guess you could say he's a chef. I think his name is David. And anytime he pops up on QVC, it's like I think he's got a joint called Cooking with Dave or Cooking with David. I like seeing what the guy's doing and all that. He's pretty energetic. He's got really cool charisma and all that. He's got a nice commanding presence about him. I remember the Memorial Day holiday. I was flipping through the channels and I happened to see him on, and I was checking him out and all that. I'm like, okay, hey, I ain't seen this dude in a while. What the hell this dude been up to? And then I was like, oh, let me add this to the library. And then I was like, oh, I wonder when I'll be able to, check out the next episode of him. And then I saw a commercial basically that was saying, hey, well, you got to get QVC Plus. And basically they were like, David is over there streaming exclusive. So it was like, what? Like, I'm not getting no goddamn QVC Plus just to, like you, Dave, but damn, like, no. So I wonder if Fox, I'm trying to remember. See, that's gonna bother me now. I know they got like a Fox News app. As give me a second here. Their own. Let me look here. Fox One. Yeah, they launched Fox One. That was a direct to consumer streaming service bringing together all of its live TV channels and on demand content in one place. So basically, right now, that's the home for Fox Sports, Fox News, Fox Weather, FS1, FS2, Fox Business, Fox Deportes, Big Ten Network, local Fox stations, and the Fox Network. Also has some on demand content from Fox Entertainment, movies, TV shows, ad supported channels like Live Now, TMZ. So, I mean, it's okay, right? I mean, I know a lot of that stuff that you guys just heard. You guys are probably like, Lee, I don't really watch any of that shit. I hear you. I hear you on that. So that's what makes this acquisition of Roku that much more, right? Because my mother-in-law has Roku and she be watching some really cool shit on the Roku that like half the time when I get a free moment, and especially if she's like going out of town or whatever, I'm house sitting and all that. I'll like switch it up. I'll actually watch the Roku, and I'd be finding all kinds of really cool shit that like, oh hey, I didn't know this was on there. I know for the longest time I was watching vintage episodes of TNA wrestling on the Roku. I was able to watch old school pay-per-views. Excuse me, guys, as well. There's all kinds of cool stuff. So I'm very curious to see how Fox is gonna operate with that, especially in conjunction with, because a lot of people they sleep on this. But are you all familiar with, oh man, what's their name? Because Fox owns one other entity, Pluto TV. Yes, it's coming back to me now. Believe it or not, Fox is behind Pluto TV. The only reason why I know this is because there was a class I did in for my radio broadcasting class some years back. And we played this game where we had to research all the companies, ABC, Fox, and it was basically okay, follow the money. Like, well, what all is under this company's umbrella. Who is the overall owner, like who's the CEO, if you can name it, how much money did they bring in last quarter, like we had to look like all that stuff up. And Fox is behind Pluto TV, so I can't help but wonder also when it comes to the Roku, are they maybe going to be looking at some of those because there's a lot of hit TV shows, original movies that's on Pluto TV. Are they going to be maybe looking at some of that content that's over there and trying to figure out ways that they can not transfer, but if there's some type of way they can take that success of that fill in the blank on Pluto and maybe make some type of a original channel out of it on Roku, or do some type of a, you understand where I'm getting at. So I know there's a lot of questions that's still like up in the air, but that's just like the stuff that you got to be thinking about. And I know for Roku users, they're probably looking at this acquisition, and I would imagine they're definitely wondering, yo, is this going to be business as usual? Like, is some of the content that I'm watching regularly, is it going to go away? Like, what exactly is going to happen? Is it still going to be business as usual? The interface as it is that going to change drastically? Just what exactly, like, it's still early. The ink hasn't even fully dried. You gotta just let that, it'll play itself out. We should know a lot more very, very, very soon. Other than that, let's call it. We're almost at the 2 hour, 30-minute mark. Before we get ready to roll out, definitely want to give a shout out to our sponsors, because without them, content like what you're checking out right now would not be made possible. I was taking a look at the show analytics from over the weekend, and I see a lot of you guys, and this had surprised me. Apparently, Germany is showing us a lot of love. We had ranked pretty high in Germany, and I was like, wait, what is going on in Germany? I don't understand this. I appreciate it. But yeah, what's going on, Germany? Hello to listeners in Germany. Hey, the RCWR show with Lee Sanders is brought to you. Keep on supporting the show if you're checking it out for on demand, but especially on the downloads. I see you guys on the downloads. That's why I was like, Germany. Love you guys. Keep doing what you're doing. I appreciate it. The RCWR show with Lee Sanders is brought to you in part by our good friends over at the video game Whisper UTC, Learn more by visiting drivethrurpg.com. Make sure you spell that DRIVETHRU RPG. DriveThruRPG.com. If you're a fan of tabletop role-playing games, this lightweight system delivers fast-paced, stylish, urban tactical combat that hits hard. Again, that game, Whisper UTC. Go grab your copy. And apparently, we are now working with a new sponsor. Tammy had hit me up with the information for this sponsor yesterday, and she was like, hey, we got a new sponsor. Make sure you show these guys some love. If you can slide them into your first Monday show here tonight for them for their first appearance, that would be great. And I said, yeah, sure. Let me see what I can do. I want to give a shout out to the good people. Give me a second here. AI search prompt.com, number one marketplace for AI prompts. Make sure you guys show them some love, as let's be honest, how many hours, how many dead ends, how many wasted credits are you burning just trying to get AI to understand what you actually meant? I can tell you from personal experience some of the conversations that I have had with AI. Why are you saying this when I only specifically asked you about this? Okay, well, wait a minute. I just told you we were switching topics. So why are you grouping what we just talked about 20 minutes ago with this new topic over here? Why are you recapping all of this shit that we just talked about like yesterday and grouping that with only this one little thing that I'm asking you about? Like, what's up with that? That's a lot of hassle, isn't it? Yeah. Go to aisearchprompt.com. It is the Google search engine for AI prompts, the AI prompt marketplace for everyone. aisearchprompt.com. Make that your platform. Happy to have them on board as a sponsor of the RCWR show with Lee Sanders. And as I always tell you guys, man, like, represent, check out our sponsors, right? Because without them, content like what you're checking out right now would not be made possible. Shout out to my man Julian Cannon of the Digiday. Speaking of mental health, and we were referencing Big E earlier, Julian of the Nocturnal website and Digiday, he did a fantastic featured story on the star of Raising Canaan, 50 Cent's son. I'm trying to think of the young man's. I'm trying to think of the young man's name, because I just be wanting to call him Lil 50 Jr. Makai Curtis. He basically shadowed him for like 2 to 3 months, and I just started reading this featured story the other day, and it's really, really good. I'm really proud of the work that Julian had did for that, which, by the way, the final season of Raising Canaan, if you guys are not aware, it's underway right now. The final season just premiered last Friday on the Stars Network. So if you guys have not gotten your Stars subscription back up and running, like, now's your time to reactivate it. Do what you got to do. Get a free trial for a month or 2 or 3. Do whatever you got to do, right? And be on it. I gotta tell you, I watched the premiere. My mouth was on the floor. I was, man, they get you in the first 5 minutes. I mean, and it hits you like a ton of bricks. That's all I'm gonna say. How about that Patina Miller though? Can we just look? I don't give that woman enough flowers, man. I mean, god damn, she is gorgeous. And she has a very strong command and presence. I love that sister. I'd like to see her. I hope that after this series wraps up, I really hope that she gets more opportunities in Hollywood, because I can definitely see her being a really damn good leading woman. Like seriously, I could see her joining the ranks of Viola Davis and everything. I can see her in a Kerry Washington, kind of like a nice hybrid of those two and all that. But yeah, check out Julian's piece. It was very, very, very good stuff. Talks about mental health, did Mackay, and everything. So I think you guys will get quite a really good read out of that. Shout out to friends of the show as well. Shout out to Mission Joe of Wrestling Soup. And shout out, not that he needs a shout out, but shout out to my guy with the YouTube channel, The Detail. Yeah, I love that guy's work. He's always posting different things about Michael Jackson. And there's like this he went down this rabbit hole of like everything concerning the Jackson's Victory Tour. This guy has been covering Michael Jackson for years, just so people understand full context. This guy's been covering Michael Jackson for like years upon years upon years upon years upon years, long before this newest Michael Jackson movie had came out. But yeah, he went down this rabbit hole over the course of the past 4 to 5 months with the Jackson's Victory Tour in the 80s. And he's been like dropping like new little sub chapters from that overall tour. So like the latest video he's got out right now, which I thought was really good, it was about 23 minutes long. And he basically was like, hey, you know, we've covered at great length what all happened when Michael Jackson walked away from the Victory Tour. But what we haven't really talked about at great length was what happened to the Jackson brothers going into the Victory Tour and after. And it was really nice how he showed you what was going on with Tito, with Randy, with Jermaine, just all the brothers. It was interesting how he tackled it and everything. Check it out when you guys get a chance. It was actually some really good stuff. I walked away from it going, I didn't know this happened. I didn't know this brother put this album out. I didn't know that Jackson brother had put this out. Like, what would, I'm not talking about the whole 2300 Jackson Street. Like, apparently a lot of the brothers, they went into that Jackson tour hoping that that would be the catapult to help them launch their own respected solo careers and or revitalize their solo career efforts. It's just really interesting. So check that out when you guys get a chance. All right, your next edition of the RCWR show. Me and Tams came real close. I know I've been teasing you guys the past couple of weeks. There was supposed to be an episode of Wrestling with the Topics, but we both were pretty drained with everything that had happened in the days prior, and we just said, because we literally were in front of the computer and in the studio here in front of the computers, and we were just spitballing. We were like, okay, what's the show? Right? Because before we come on the air, like we usually sit down a couple of days before, just kind of give you guys a peek behind the curtain. We sit down usually a few days before, and we're like, what's the show? What's been catching your eye? That, and we just go back and forth off of that. And if we have an idea, we just like jot it down. And then if we need to like do whatever research, we'll do the research, but we typically will come into the show prepared and all that. And going into the weekend, it was like, okay, what's the show? And we pretty much were like, where does this little thing over here? And then there's this little thing over here. Is it enough for a show? Not really. Okay, well, let's not do it then. One thing that we were going to talk about, we were going to talk about the whole Janel Grant, Vince McMahon thing. You thought I forgot, didn't you? No, I didn't forget. I'm just not going to be long-winded. Big development in the Janel Grant lawsuit against WWE, TKO, Vince McMahon. Court approved moving the Janel Grant lawsuit into private arbitration. And in a joint motion that was filed by Grant, McMahon, and WWE requesting the court to move the sex trafficking lawsuit to private arbitration, pending approval from the court, the lawsuit against McMahon and WWE would move out of the public. So, I mean, look, when it's all said and done, is this a sign that basically, yeah, Vince McMahon has put out another fire? Yeah, ultimately. I don't like hearing this. Um, it saddens me because Janelle Grant, for like these past couple of years, oh, it's not about money, it's what was done was so wrong, and if I can be that voice for others, hopefully other women will step up and stand out, and I gotta say, I looked from afar as all of this was playing out, and I just kept saying to myself, well, I hope that whatever her decision is, she follows it all the way through. And it just seemed like no matter what, the few interviews that she gave, it just seemed like she was just continuing to stay on top of it, and just all the information that was being put out there, the screenshots of texts and all of that stuff. It just seemed like, nah, this is the one. This is the one that, like, no, she is being hell bent. She is being like a relentless pit bull right now. She's got that bite of the wrist or that leg, and she ain't letting go. And now to see, this latest development, here's the sad part about this. Let's be real. If Vince McMahon never would have missed a payment and then been like, nah, I ain't gonna pay you, I'm good. If he would have never operated like that, I promise you, we wouldn't know anything about any of this shit. We would not know any of this shit that's going on right now. This is a huge break for Vince McMahon. This basically, and I really need people to understand this. This is a huge fucking break for Vince McMahon because this gets the man one step closer to just, what was that on my shoulder? I don't know. That was nothing. It was nothing. That's it. It gets him one step closer. And I truly believe now in my heart of hearts by Janelle Grant just kind of, just by her easing off the pedal like this, easing off the brake like this. Yeah, Vince McMahon is one step closer. Now, do I think this means that ultimately Vince McMahon will come back to the WWE? I know in the past few years, people had like these crazy ass theories for WWE storylines, and what if Vince McMahon is revealed to be, and I never played into any of that shit. But if you all recall, I dropped little Easter eggs the past several months, how I was just looking at everything. And I revealed my hand quite a bit when it came to Stephanie McMahon being inducted in the WWE Hall of Fame. Let me refresh your memories a little bit. I said to you guys, do I believe Stephanie should be going in the WWE Hall of Fame? Hell to the nah. I don't believe she should be going into the Hall of Fame. There's so many other people. Do you remember that? I also had said, you know what? For Triple H and Stephanie McMahon and in the positions that they're in right now, it's now or never. Y'all remember me saying that? Something along those lines? And I didn't want to go all into it then, but I was dropping Easter eggs. And I told you guys I'll come back to it at a later date. And that was because I was waiting to see how more of this was going to be playing out. By more of this, this Vince McMahon Janel Grant situation. By seeing this latest development, now look, does it mean that this is the be all end all and that um no, it doesn't mean that because we're seeing what we're but it is a big break for Vince McMahon. This is like him one step closer to okay, I can shake this off. Remember the arrangement, if you will, that Vince McMahon had when Ari Emanuel acquired WWE. Basically, Vince McMahon would still be Vince McMahon in his respective position, and he'd be able to do right business as usual, essentially. So for this to go down, right? And I know Teddy Long had did one crazy ass interview, and he's basically like, Vince McMahon, I'd love to see him back in the WWE. And let me tell you something. I truly believe there was a reason why Stephanie went into the WWE Hall of Fame. Just play some of the stuff back that we've seen since Triple H, Paul Levesque, and crew, since they've pretty much been doing their thing. I would not be surprised. And I got to give a shout out. I think it was maybe Matt Coon that had said this. And son of a bitch, I think Matt Coon is onto something. He said something along the lines of, what if he was one of the first people to say this, but then I saw others just on their own accord. I could tell when, no, we're copying and pasting here, and then who's just naturally they're bringing it up on their own. But Matt Coon was one of the first that I remember. Plausible. That very well. And then Mish came along and was like, I quietly was like, even before they even said anything, I'm quietly looking at all this shit just going, Saudi Prince love him some WWE. What if the Saudi Prince were to acquire WWE? WWE, Saudi, like all of that would not have happened without Vince McMahon at the helm. What if the Saudi Prince fucks with Vince McMahon like that he's like, yo, I gotta have Vince McMahon back. I mean, Triple H is all right, but I gotta have Vinnie Mac. I gotta have 80-plus-year-old Vinnie Mac back at the helm. I'm gonna tell you now what my gut instinct was saying to me the night of the WWE Hall of Fame ceremony months back. Now I'm gonna tell you. I feel, and I am a scary ass judge of character here. I pray to God I'm wrong on this one, family and friends. I feel that Vince McMahon will be back in WWE. And I'm going to go a step further than that. I feel that despite Ari Emanuel saying one thing and, oh, no, in regards to Vince, I feel that Vince will be back. Either it's going to be through Ari Emanuel / TKO, and it's pretty much going to be business as usual. And look, we know The Rock loves Vince. So as far as a TKO executive, I mean, it doesn't get any better than that, right? I feel in my heart of hearts that eventually Triple H and Stephanie McMahon, they're going to be gone. They will be gone. Do I see it being a case where, like, come 2032, Triple H and Stephanie are still somehow incorporated there with WWE? I would be shocked to see that. Because I got Vince McMahon returning long before then. I hope I am wrong. Really, I do. That's not me smoking anything crazy. That's just me being legit with you guys. That's how I'm kind of looking at all of this playing itself out. Mitch brought up a good point, which was something that Ronda Rousey had said. That's been kind of crawling in the back of my head. And she said, as long as Kevin Dunn is in the WWE, she basically was like, there's always a possibility that Vince could be back in the WWE because, Pritchard is like Vince McMahon's right hand man, right? Right? He is Vince McMahon's eyes and ears. And he literally is. You don't think Vince has been kept up to date on any and everything that's been happening all this time behind the scenes? Shit. We know for a fact that Vince is still watching the product and all that and taking notes and all of that. Teddy Long revealing how at Vince McMahon's own birthday party, he pretty much had Kevin Dunn and you know McMahon's on the headset and quarterbacking. Yeah, he was actually quarterbacking his. It's crazy, just fucking crazy. I hope I'm wrong. But I just my gut instinct. Very seldom is my gut instinct about certain situations and people. It ends up being wrong. But that's what my gut instinct was screaming way back when. And with shit like this with the Janelle Grant situation. Now, granted, Vince McMahon still has the Ring Boy scandal, out here in the DMV, that's still kind of ongoing, but it kind of looks like that's probably likely gonna reach its proper conclusion rather quickly. All that shit cleared and out the way. Matter of time, right? Something to marinate over. Let's call it 2 hours, 52 minutes. You guys got a nice ass deluxe show. I hope you guys appreciated it. I'm glad that we're able to do these shows for you guys since it's, spring/summer break right now and all that. So enjoy them for what it's worth. Your next edition, I don't think there's going to be a wrestling with the topics. It's possible. I'll tell you what though. I am looking forward to watching SmackDown this week. SmackDown commercial free, apparently. I guess the first hour or whatever. There's going to be your main event, Cody Rhodes defending the undisputed championship against Gunther with Sami Zayn as a special guest referee. I normally don't watch SmackDown, especially since it's been a 3-hour show. A 3-hour shore, a 3-hour shore, a 3-hour tour. With Gilligan, the movie star. Sorry, guys. Anyway, I'm actually gonna watch that. I'm not doing a post show though. But if you want to tweet along with me live, I'll be on the Twitter tweeting about that. But unless something big goes down, news breaking, your next edition won't be until Monday, June 22nd, 2026. I'll be live on the East Coast as soon as WWE Raw wraps up. Make sure you make a mental note if you happen to be off work that day, or you got that flexible of enough schedule like me, you're able to slide in some afternoon Raw, and afterwards hop on, check out the post show. Should be really, really good. Meantime, be kind, rewind, check out previous episodes you might have missed on demand and on the downloads wherever you get your podcasts. Just search the RCWR show. You can also get at me on all throughout social media. Use the keywords the RCWR show. Show the YouTube channel some love. See, we still have been picking up quite a few subs. Appreciate you guys that's been subscribing and checking out the content, interacting, all that great stuff. We're still doing the foodie reviews. I got some new snacks, sitting on some videos that I'll be editing in the next day or two. So look out for those. We'll be uploading those on the YouTube channel. Definitely something going to be dropping this week for you guys. I'm thinking Wednesday, most likely. And until next go round, I'm wishing all of y'all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. I will see you guys next go round. Take care.